Hi guys, and welcome back to Love English. So I am back off holiday. Many of you who follow us on Instagram will know that I have been to Cuba. So not only am I back with a tan, but I'm also married. There we go. Just to show you, proof, wedding ring, engagement ring. So thank you so much for all your lovely comments. Many of you said congratulations on YouTube community, and of course those of you on Instagram that commented on my lovely wedding pictures, thank you very much. Now today you're going to learn even more about me because I'm going to give you some examples, some sentences, personal sentences about me to illustrate the grammar point that I am looking at today. So not only will you learn more about grammar, but you're learning more about me. Today we are looking at used to and would to talk about the past, specifically to talk about past habits, routines, and regular activities that you did in the past but you don't do now, or that you didn't do in the past but you do now. Does that make sense? Now, although this grammar point is actually quite simple, it's super useful to use in IELTS, FCE, CAE, any kind of speaking exam where you might be asked to talk about some past experiences, even your childhood. Rather than just using the past simple, I was always out playing with my friends when I was a child, you could use used to or would. This shows your range of grammar, your range of language in English, and will get you a higher grade in a speaking exam. So as always, before we get started, click that subscribe button and the notifications bell so that you are notified when our lessons are uploaded. And of course, don't forget to find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Right, on with the lesson. Shall we talk about the past? Now, one thing Sabrah and I always recommend, whether it is grammar or vocabulary, you need to personalize the language. And today I am going to play a bit of a game with you. I'm going to tell you two things about me that are true and one that is a lie. So, I'm going to tell you three things about me, referring of course to the past and my childhood. Now, one of these things that I am going to tell you is a lie, and I want you to guess which one is the lie. Right, number one. When I was a child, I used to eat raw onions. Raw meaning uncooked. So, when I was a child, I used to eat raw onions. Number two. When I was a child, I would often play outside in the garden. When I was a child, I would often play outside in the garden. And number three, when I was a child, I used to love mushrooms. When I was a child, I used to love mushrooms. So there we are, three things about me. Which one do you think is the lie? Keep watching to the end to find out the answer. Don't forget, you can of course play this game. Why don't you comment in the box below using the grammar once I've explained it, and tell me two things about you that are true, one that is the lie, and I will guess which one. Let's understand why we use used to and would. They are used to talk about habits, routines, regular activities in the past that no longer happen now. So, when I was a child, I used to watch cartoons. When I was a child, I used to watch cartoons. Do I watch cartoons now? No. So, I can say that. That is correct. I used to in the past, but I don't now. When I was a child, I didn't used to eat bananas. I didn't used to eat bananas. Do I eat bananas now? Yes, I do. When I was a child, I used to eat chocolate. When I was a child, I used to eat chocolate. Now, if I said that I used to do it in the past, it means that I don't do it now. Can I say that? Not really. I still like eating chocolate. So that one would be wrong. Oh, this is good chocolate. I've eaten chocolate my whole life. Who wouldn't? Now remember, with used to and would, they are actions that regularly happened in the past. If it was an action that happened once, then you need to use the past simple. When I was a child, I went to Spain. If you said I used to go to Spain, it means you regularly went. Or I would often go to Spain. You went regularly, more than once. It was a pattern, a habit, a routine. So just remember that. If it was only one time, then past simple. So now we understand the concept of used to and would being in the past but not being true now, or vice versa. We can look at the grammar. Used to plus the base form of the verb, the infinitive. That is the positive. I used to eat. I used to play. I used to go. Negative, I didn't used to. I didn't used to. They didn't used to. We didn't used to. The great thing about this grammar is that there is no third person because we are talking in the past. So therefore, we used to, they used to, she used to, we didn't used to, they didn't used to, she didn't used to. And of course, after both twos, whether it's negative or positive, you would use the base form of the verb, the infinitive. The same goes for would. Would is a modal verb, and of course we need an infinitive after a modal verb. I would go, I would play, I would do, I would eat. When I was a child, I would often run around the park. And of course, don't forget question forms. Did you used to play football when you were a child? Would you often play football when you were a child? Just simply invert those auxiliary verbs and the subject to make the sentence a question. And of course, using those adverbs often, always, sometimes, rarely, seldom, any kind of adverb that indicates a period of time, or even every day, once a day, every evening. These are great to give more context and to explain in more detail how regularly you did something in the past. Now, what you may have noticed is the pronunciation of used to in the negative and the positive. I didn't used to play football. I used to play football. Listen carefully there. I used to play. I used to play. I didn't used to play. There's no difference in pronunciation. Because we need the infinitive verb after did, we would remove the D from used. Use. But when we are speaking quickly, there is a T at the end. It connects used and use to. So, I used to play, I didn't used to play. Used to. Used to. Very strange when you listen to it separately from the sentence, but that is how we speak. And that is also going to help you sound much more natural and native when you are using this grammar. Now, most of the time we are able to use used to or would interchangeably. However, when it comes to state verbs, when it comes to talking about states in the past, we have to use used to. Would is only used for actions, but used to can be used for both. When I was a child, I used to have short hair. When I was a child, I would have short hair. No, we can't say this. We cannot use would in this way. It doesn't work. When I was a child, I used to be naughty in the evenings when I didn't want to go to bed. I used to be. Be, of course, is a state verb. We're talking about a state in the past that you were but are not now. I cannot use, when I was a child, I would be naughty. No, this is a state. So we would only use used to, or of course you can use the past simple. When I was a child, I was often naughty before bed. If you don't know whether you are using a state verb or an active verb, an action, then simply use the past simple or use used to. Don't get stressed about which to use when used to is actually perfectly okay. So that's it, a really simple grammar point, used to and would, to talk about past habits, routines, and activities you did or didn't do regularly in the past that you do or don't do now. Remember, if you did it in the past, you don't do it now. If you didn't do it in the past, you do it now. Make sense? Let's look at those examples that I gave you about myself at the beginning of the lesson. And of course, I will reveal which one is the lie. So the 3 sentences I gave you. When I was a child, I used to eat raw onions, uncooked onions. Number 2, when I was a child, I would often play outside in the garden. Number 3, when I was a child, I used to love mushrooms. So which one did you think was a lie? Right, it is in fact number 3. That's right. When I was a child, I used to eat raw onions, uncooked onions, like an apple almost. Can you imagine if I did that now? I don't think I would get a kiss from my husband or have anyone come near me. And I don't think my students would be very happy to have a teacher with onion breath. When I was a child, of course, I would often play outside in the garden, as most children do. Do I play outside in the garden now? No. I might sit in the garden in the summer with a glass of wine. But number 3, when I was a child, I used to hate mushrooms, which means I love them now. Right, so that is it. Now, of course, like I told you, you need to comment below. I want you to give me 3 sentences, 2 that are true about your childhood and 1 that is a lie. I will guess which one is the lie and you tell me if I got it right. Try and make them a little bit strange and interesting, but hopefully believable so that it will be hard for me to guess which one is the lie. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, of course, comment with your grammar and share the lesson if you found it useful. Thank you so much. Bye.